So let us consider Reynolds mean momentum equation. The first term is dou ui by dou t, the temporal derivative, plus uj dou ui by dou xj, the advective derivative, equals dou by dou xj minus P by rho delta ij, the pressure term, the viscous term 2 nu Sij. Then we have the Reynolds stress term ui uj, these fluctuating terms. Now we know that the last term is the new term arriving out of this Reynolds decomposition and Reynolds averaging process, which is carried out on the momentum equation. So initially we started with mean momentum, just momentum equation, then we substituted Reynolds decomposition and then we averaged it. So the resulting equation is this, we call it Reynolds mean momentum equation, and we have a new unknown. Now let us slightly rearrange this. What I am going to do is I am going to bring this 1 by rho outside this bracket. So let me rewrite 1 by rho dou by dou xj. So you will have minus P delta ij, plus if you remove 1 by rho from that, you have to multiply rho there. So 2 nu rho Sij minus rho ui uj. So you will get this terms. Now we have this last term. I introduced this term as the shear stresses or the Reynolds stresses, which usually has the matrix format, and you have 3 diagonal components and 3 off diagonal components, usually a symmetric tensor. This is viscous stress, and this is the Reynolds stress. We have seen the meaning of each and every term, like a temporal term, advective term, pressure term, viscous term. What does it do to the fluid parcel? Now the new term which we have, we need to understand what does it do to the fluid parcels. So we will have this particular term, we will expand it into a tensor or a matrix, and then we will see what does it convey to us. So here we will define this Reynolds stress is minus rho ui uj. This will be the Reynolds stress. How you can see this is, in many books you might find in different formats, ui uj, ui uj in angle brackets minus rho, and some people write it like this, minus rho uv. Some people write like this, minus rho ui uj over bar. So there are different notations. You need to follow only a notation such that you will not lose track of these things. So once you know what is this Reynolds stress, we can expand the matrix, and then we can start inferring information out of this Reynolds stress. The Reynolds stress tensor ui uj equals u square v dash square w dash square u dash v dash u dash w dash v dash W dash. So we get a matrix which is a symmetric tensor. Now we know that there are 6 terms in this. This will be the diagonal term. So these diagonal terms will represent the normal fluctuations. Then you have the off diagonal terms. So this off diagonal terms will always represent shear. So you have both the components in the given tensor. Now this given tensor has u, v, w as individual components, and also you have uv, uw and vw, the cross correlation components. So now we need to find meaning for each and every individual term in this, such that we will be able to understand what Reynolds stresses are doing. First we will consider a term u suffix I. So what does it convey? It conveys to us that this is the volume flux passing through unit area perpendicular to I direction. So what does this mean? Ui is the volume flux passing through unit area perpendicular to I direction. So there is a surface. You usually consider the fluid element or the finite control volume to be a cuboid, and you have surfaces, and in this place we have a surface which has I as unit normal direction. So the surface has an area of unit meter square. So through this area some volume of fluid is passing. So volume is meter cube, and you find about the flux. Flux means it is rate of change, it is 1 by second. So now what we can find is, it is like a volume per time passing through unit area. So this is area, so meter cube per second per meter square. So if you simplify this, it should give you meter per second. So now how I am seeing this in fluid mechanics is u suffix I, it is conveying us the volume flux passing through unit area which is perpendicular to the I direction. So there is a surface normal I, and through that surface fluid passing through, and the dimensional analysis shows that it is a volume meter cube, the flux, that is the rate, it is per second, and passing through an area meter square, and hence you arrive at the unit meter per second. So this is what we are trying to understand from the first part. Now taking this further, in the Reynolds stress we saw that there is a rho ui uj. Suppose if we multiply this ui by rho, what does it convey? It is mass flux passing through unit area perpendicular to I direction. So previously we saw that it is the volume flux. Now if you multiply it by rho, it becomes mass flux. So usually we have rho in units mass by volume. We have kilogram per meter cube. So originally we had meter cube per second, and then we had meter square passing through that area. Now we have kilogram per meter cube. So what we can find is, easily we can say that it is meter cube cancels. Easily we can say from kilogram, this is the mass flux, this is the flux passing through unit area. Easily you can arrive at a solution. Now if we consider rho u I u j, previously we saw about rho u I or rho u. We got an information that it's mass flux passing through unit area perpendicular to the I direction. Now if you have one more velocity term, you know that it becomes momentum. So what does it convey? It is the j momentum flux passing through unit area perpendicular to I direction. So we started with ui, it said about the volume flux, then we considered rho ui, it told us about the mass flux, and rho ui uj, it tells us about the momentum flux. So what momentum flux is passing is, you have to see like this, it's the j momentum flux passing through unit area perpendicular to I direction. That's how we have to see this term. So what you are understanding is, this term speaks about the rate of change of momentum. Now what we can see is, we can see rho ui uj, if it is in angular brackets or over bar, whatever it is, we can easily find that this will be the average j momentum flux passing through unit area perpendicular to I direction. So you have to add only an extra term, average j momentum flux, remaining all same. Now we see that this term usually appears with a negative symbol like this, rho ui uj. This is how it appears in the Reynolds main momentum equation. So when it appears with negative term, it is saying something. What is that? It is usually the resistance to the flow. So this is what we need to understand. So the resistance to the flow is offered by the Reynolds stresses. We initially considered the resistance to the flow is being offered by the viscosity. Now we are seeing that this Reynolds stress is also offering resistance to the flow. The difference is, the original or the prior thing which we have discussed earlier, that is the molecular viscosity which causes the resistance to the flow. It is the property of the fluid when it is flowing. Now this Reynolds stresses arises due to turbulence, and this resistance to the flow is because of the fluctuating velocity components. So the key difference is, in molecular viscosity, the resistance is caused by the property of the fluid when it is flowing. Here, this Reynolds stresses are offering resistance to the flow, and it is because of the fluctuating velocity components. And later we can understand that this is related to viscosity, similar to what we have had earlier, and we will arrive at a term called turbulent viscosity. And this turbulent viscosity is similar or analogous to molecular viscosity. The only difference here is, this turbulent viscosity caused by the fluctuations. Whenever you see this term as turbulent viscosity, you see that viscosity is offering resistance to the flow. When it is called turbulent viscosity, it is offering resistance to the flow by the fluctuating velocity components or fluctuation of the fluid passes. That's how we have to infer. Let me rewrite the Reynolds stress tensor. U square UV UW UV V square VW UW VW W dash square. So you have this entire Reynolds stress tensor wherein you have 6 independent quantities. What are the 6 independent quantities? The 6 independent quantities are 3 from the diagonal and 3 from the off diagonal. So you can consider this to be symmetric, and you also find invariance of this particular matrix. What is this invariant? It will not change with respect to coordinate system. So you might find a trace of the matrix. Some of the invariance you can easily find. So you can refer to mathematics material and you can find how to find invariance of a matrix, and you will be able to find invariance of the Reynolds stress tensor. Now we will consider this matrix and we will take the trace of the matrix wherein you have this normal components like U square, V square and W square, which will be like 2k equals U dash square plus V dash square plus W dash square, or k equals 1 by 2 U dash square plus V dash square plus W dash square. The trace of the matrix is equal to 2 times the turbulent kinetic energy. So that we need to understand here. So if you are given with a Reynolds stress tensor, you can take the first invariant, that is the trace of the matrix, and you can equate it to 2k, that's the definition, which will tell you about the turbulent kinetic energy. How we are arriving at the name turbulent kinetic energy is by this U square, V square, W square. Initially we started with capital U square and we discussed that that is the kinetic energy of the mean flow, and since it is U dash here, we can infer that this is the kinetic energy of the fluctuation or fluctuating velocity component. So which is directly related to the turbulence. If you find fluctuation, it will be say signifying turbulence. So this is the turbulent kinetic energy of that particular flow which you consider. So this turbulent kinetic energy, you can easily infer that it is in the dimension of meters square per second square. Now you know that whenever you supply energy to the fluid or fluid flow, the turbulence derives energy from the mean flow and it sustains. Suppose if you withdraw the energy supply, the produced turbulence starts decaying. You know the property of turbulence called dissipation. Once this dissipation starts, this turbulent kinetic energy has to decay because the turbulence doesn't have energy or energy supply from the mean flow. So the K will start reducing. So you might find reduction in turbulence and you might call it decay of turbulence or dissipation of turbulence. So this dissipation we call it epsilon. That is how this kinetic energy gets reduced in the flow and eventually it goes to zero, and how it gets converted to the viscous heating. All these things we have seen earlier. Now the rate of change of turbulent kinetic energy, that is in dimensional forms meter square per second square. The rate of change, you have another second, so you might get a dimension of meter square per second cube. So that will be epsilon. In other terms, what we can find is epsilon equals 2 nu Sij, small sij, that you need to note. So how we can dimensionally check this, whether this is equal to the meter square per second cube. So we can find meter square per second for nu, and then we can find Sij is like dou u by dou x, which is like meter per second. Then you have the dou x component, that will be meter, and again dou u by dou x, meter per second, then meter. So you have this meter getting cancelled, and then you get meter square per second cube. So we can find that this is consistent. Dissipation of turbulent kinetic energy is by epsilon, and you have turbulent kinetic energy K, and you have decay of turbulent kinetic energy called dissipation, that is epsilon. So you have got two terms to understand from the turbulent kinetic energy. So as a recap, what all we have seen is, we have seen Reynolds stress, each and individual terms, what does it convey to us, what is the physical meaning, and then we arrived at turbulent kinetic energy TKE. It is denoted by italicized small k, and the rate of decay of turbulent kinetic energy, we call it epsilon. So this is the dissipation of turbulent kinetic energy. So from Reynolds stress we have found turbulent kinetic energy, and if the turbulent kinetic energy decays, we have dissipation of turbulent kinetic energy. So this information we have understood. So this we can use it in various turbulent flows to understand what are its characteristics.